Hello there, Ladybridge parents and carers. This video is to tell you about two things. First thing is a remote learning guide that I have sent to you today, which is pretty similar to the guide that we sent out to learners last week. So that's the first thing to tell you about. So it's just to take you through the sort of overview of that, about what we're providing at the moment. Obviously, by now, you know, we're sort of 2 or 3 weeks in, you've got a pretty good idea of that, but I just wanted to make sure parents knew exactly what we were providing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to introduce the survey that I'd like you to do to give us a bit of feedback on what we're providing. So that's the purpose of this video. It's those two things. So let me start with the guide. You can see firstly in the guide the timings of the school day that we've got at the moment, which is the timings we've got on a Tuesday. By having a slightly shorter day, it gives time at the end of the day for each of our learners to catch up on any tasks that they've not quite finished during the day, and also time for our teachers to check engagement to see whether learners have done everything that they need to do, and to update the spreadsheets that we're using to track engagement. And it also means that through the day being slightly shorter, it slightly reduces the amount of screen time that our learners and staff have got, which of course we're all having to experience a lot of screen time at the moment. The lessons themselves then. So as you know, the vast majority of the lessons are live. And as I say, the learners are following the normal school timetable at the times, like with the times that you can see there. So yeah, the sort of most common approach is that the teachers are meeting the classes live, checking some of the prior learning, introducing the new content, asking questions, gauging how much progress learners are making, and then setting them off on a task independently, but then keeping some groups of learners live who need some extra support. And then they set off independently, and then the teacher stays online live to provide any additional support. So that, you know, that's the most common approach. There's a bit of variation in that, but that's the most common approach. So the timings of all of the meetings, so all of the lessons, are also in each learner's Microsoft Teams calendar. And then they can also join the lessons via that route, via the calendar within Teams as well. So it's expected that they complete the work on the same day it's set. And we really want to encourage our learners to take charge of things, to show agency. And if there's any issues that they've got to in the first instance, to communicate directly with the teacher. And yeah, to get in touch with staff if they need any further support. Registers, this is an interesting one. So we're being really, you know, we're keeping our expectations really high. We want our learners to not just engage and attend, well, not just attend the live lessons, but to fully engage, to complete all the tasks that are set, and of course to go above and beyond. And I'll tell you a bit about that in a moment. And then what we're doing is reporting all of that to you. So every day, as you know, you're getting emails from us to give you some indication as to whether your child is engaging. And yeah, what teachers are actually reporting to us on spreadsheets is not just, as I say, the live attendance, but whether the work is being done. So they're giving a code of an S if a learner has attended the live lesson but hasn't got the work done. And we are setting that bar quite high. And part of the reason for the survey that I'm going to tell you about in a bit is for you to tell us whether we're setting the bar too high and we're expecting too much from our learners, because we've had a little bit of feedback from parents to suggest that, but I want to see from all of our parents, what do you think? Are we expecting too much or not? But I do think it's right that we don't just track whether they're attending live, but we're tracking whether they're doing the work. Because obviously what we don't want is learners attending and getting on with other things, playing on the Xbox or whatever it may be, and we don't know whether they're actually doing the work or not. So that would not be good. So I think we're right to be tracking the engagement as well as the attendance to the live lessons. But please give us some feedback on whether the demands we're placing upon our learners in terms of the amount we're expecting them to do is too much or not. So tell us through the form that I'll show you in a second. So we're not setting extra homework because, as I say, the demands are quite great already. But I would really encourage all learners to engage in daily and weekly reviews of their learning that include testing themselves and what they've learned. So that's just a good habit to be in, lockdown or no lockdown. It's a really good habit to be in. That will make more difference to their learning and their academic achievement than anything else. If your child is engaging in a daily review of what they've learned that day, checking back over what they've learned and testing themselves on what they've learned, and then doing that each week, I'm telling you now, they'll make incredible academic progress over time. So if they engage in that independent retrieval practice, honestly, it'll make a massive, massive difference. I cannot recommend that highly enough. What your child can also choose to do is to engage in what we call our grade A tasks. So we are putting, so for each lesson, we're giving some optional extra things that we encourage our learners to do. And to get a grade A for attitude to learning, we're expecting that those tasks, I'm not saying every single one of them, but in general, the learner would be doing a lot of those those grade A attitude to learning tasks. I'd also say that the kind of extra research and study that we started to cultivate and encourage during the first lockdown through Project C, that our learners were presenting to their forms last term, is also something that I would encourage. So extra study and research through that Project C style of just following those interests, those passions, following those points of curiosity. I would very much encourage that as well. I'm just giving you a flavor now of how our learners can go above and beyond just completing the work that's set every day. Our learners who have special educational needs are getting full support at the moment through the Learning Support Assistant, so that just continues. Personal development. So we don't call form time learnacy now. That's a word we've moved away from and isn't really a word anyway. We refer now to personal developments. The form tutors are in charge of that, and they're the first point of contact for any pastoral issues. And what typically we're doing is the form tutors meet the forms on a Monday and a Friday as a whole form. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're checking in with individuals. They're meeting either small groups or individual learners. And in some cases, they're making phone calls home to speak to learners or to speak to parents. And the rest of it, I'm not going to go through. You've got an online learning protocol there, guidance on pre-recorded lessons, because in addition to live stuff, we're still doing a lot of pre-recorded lessons and using those as well. And then through our offer on Teams, through the work we do on Teams, we also connect with and use all of these different remote learning platforms. So there's lots of links in there for learners and parents too. And then at the back of the guide, you've got the appendices with guidance on how to use Teams, going right from the basics of how to log in to some more advanced stuff in there as well. So let me change my screen sharing now, and I'm going to show you this survey that we've sent out. And yeah, I'd really encourage you to engage in this survey and to give us some feedback. So firstly, what I should say is, before I tell you about the form, please be aware that this offer we've got at the moment, it's quite different from what we were able to offer during lockdown 1 for all sorts of reasons that I won't go into now. I'll just give you one reason though. Of course, we were at the start of our sort of learning journey to some extent on remote learning at that time. So we feel we did all right in terms of lockdown 1, but this is vastly improved, I would say, from what we were able to offer the first time around. It's also much, it's a much stronger offer, I would say, than what we've been able to offer during those periods of self-isolation this year. But I do want you to understand why that is. That's not just that we've invested in building up our own expertise as teachers. I mean, we have done that. We've had weekly training for staff literally every single week on remote learning. But it's also simply the fact that with the periods of self-isolation, our teachers were having to teach live in school face-to-face and cover for absent colleagues and then pre-record lessons that they posted up. So they weren't able, in most cases, to meet learners live. So that's why the offer's much better now. But I don't want you to think that we were able to provide this before, but we were choosing not to. It simply wasn't possible because of the reasons that I've just said. So yeah, we think it's a pretty good offer, but you know, nothing's perfect. We can always improve. So give us firstly just a rating, a 5-star rating. So a rating out of 5 for how we're doing. Tell us what's gone well. Tell us what we need to improve. Tell us, I mentioned before about workload demands. Are we getting that right? Are we expecting too much, or are we not setting enough? Tell us what you think about the workload demands for your child. Tell us what you think about those daily engagement emails. Because we've had sort of all sorts of feedback on that. Some parents saying they're super grateful for the daily feedback. Some parents saying that the information is a bit too general to be helpful. But I'd love to know from you know, a larger number of parents, from as many parents as possible, what your views are on that. And if those 3 descriptions don't fit, well, tell us there why they don't fit. Tell us what you think about those daily engagement emails. Tell me what the barriers are. If there are any barriers, there might not be any barriers to successful remote learning. We've done a tremendous amount to provide IT and to provide Wi-Fi as well to families that have not got it. But yeah, there still are other barriers. And if you are a family who have still got those barriers, you can let us know on here and we can check to see whether we were aware of that or not. And yeah, do everything we can to provide you with everything you need for your child, for them to engage successfully in remote learning. We're also looking to get out into the community next week and to deliver stationery for families that need it. So please indicate here which of those items of stationery your child may need. And then obviously their name and form group and year group. Okay, everyone, I hope that was useful and I hope that was clear. And the last thing to say is really important, actually, before I go, which is let us know if you need support with anything. So, you know, you've got the year group emails. So I won't say them now because it's going out on the internet, but, you know, I've sent them to you. I posted them to you lots and lots of times. Let us know via those year group emails if you need support with anything. We are here for you. We are here for your child. We'll do everything we can to support. Okay, so take care. Wish you all the best. Keep in touch with us. I'll see you later. Thanks, everyone.